I don't know what to say about that. You're unmuted. I tried. I really did. You know what day of the week it is? Okay. Yeah. Not slow. It's 7 o'clock. It's slow. I don't know what to tell you. And they're both slow. I set them to the same time today to my phone, and nothing is matching my phone now.
Pretty good.
What day? Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we know.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't have a quorum yet.
Yes, we do.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
great.
All right, so
Fantastic.
good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to call to order the March 10th, 2025 Harpersburg Town Council meeting to order. We have physically present George, Chris, Storm, and Greg. Zooming with us will be Zach. Nina is absent, as is Roberta, I assume. Is that correct?
Yes, so far.
All right. Let's all stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Zach, the administrative officer wants to know if you were standing up.
I was.
Very good.
Yeah, it's funny, but I was on this.
Sure. All right. Who's got taking notes? You can, any help, George will help you if you need help.
I was no George, that's not that.
All right, approval of the agenda. Council, I have 4 strikes. So if you would go to 5B, Roman numeral 2, strike it.
5 P's and boy.
5B, boy, number 2, and strike 5B, boy, number 4. Strike 5B, boy, number 5. And strike 5B, boy, number 7. Any other changes to the agenda?
I haven't seen any minutes for January meeting minutes.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Zach.
Zach, go ahead.
I think George may have caught it, but I don't think we've seen the minutes, so we should entertain striking approval of those from the agenda.
Well, the 8th July is on.
You got 8 July.
He's gonna sneeze.
Tissues.
Okay. The
No, folks.
Vaughn
Okay,
anti-sneeze
motion to
technique.
approve the agenda as amended. All right, Chris, we have a second on the motion to approve. We have a second from George. Discussion on the motion to approve. All those in favor of the motion to approve?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Public comment.
There are none.
One message that I have is that Roberta asked me to discuss the Jefferson County Development Authority Jump Street Jefferson 2025. This is a program put on by JCDA. It's to assist business owners with developing a business plan, and there would be like 6 or 7 sessions that the JCPA will hold with the instructors. They'll talk about budgeting and credit and insurance and advertising. And then following the series, the participants will participate, and they must submit a business plan and give their little pitch. There'll be judges to judge them, and there will be prize money and everything, I believe, Patty, begins on March 19, 2025 is what I have. That's the only announcement that I had. Recorders absent, so there'll be no recorder announcements. Community announcements, Hilltop Hotel. We got Laurel here. Thank you very much,
Microphone
Laurel.
right
She had
there,
a
Laurel, on the
microphone.
stand. Yes, just
on. Hello, good evening, Mayor and Town Council. So I just want to give you an update that we have had our teams out at the site. And we have the fence all designed according to what the chief of the fire chief has designated whips for the emergency gates. So we're looking at opening up that first week of April. And I'm sure everybody will be excited to go down and watch the sunrise for Easter morning. So, the other thing we're looking forward to is starting our Lower Town Trail walk to start staking out what the trail will be before the foliage comes in. So those are the items that we're working on right now.
Thank you, Laurel. Appreciate it. Superintendent, National Park Service, good to have you here again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and other members of the council. Hi, Zach. Just one announcement. The park has closed the sidewalk at the corner of Shenandoah and Potomac Streets until further notice. Chimney above the closure area needs to be repaired. I've requested funding for these unexpected repairs and hope we will be able to address this issue very soon. We will notify the mayor's office and Chief Brown's office as the project advances. And you can always check our website for alerts and updates about the closure on our website.
I don't have a question, but I'll just comment for the record that the superintendent and I offered the superintendent any assistance that we could possibly give her during these difficult times. I don't know what that assistance would be, but it'd be within our reasonable capabilities, and the superintendent was very gracious for that offer. These are difficult times for the National Park Service, as we all know, and being a retired federal employee, I know exactly what these tens of thousands of employees are going through, and so I have a lot of empathy for your staff and for yourself, Superintendent. So thank you for going through what you're going through and doing your best to trudge along. And if you do need some assistance, please feel free to reach out to us. If we can do it and help it, we will.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Council.
Community announcements. Chris, Storm, or George?
Zach.
Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, just one quick community announcement that the second annual Harpers Ferry Film Festival is coming up March 21st and 22nd. That's a Friday and a Saturday. Tickets are on sale now, and you can purchase them for either night or both.
Where are they on sale?
They are on sale through a website called Eventbrite, and you can get that link from the posters that are around town and at the town hall.
Thank you, Zach. Approval of minutes. You all have Monday, July 8th, 2024 minutes before you.
Did I understand correctly that those were previously approved, but there has been an amendment?
Yeah, what is redlined is the correction.
Right.
It's just the wrong motion, not in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move to accept the July amended minutes.
Second on the motion, second from George, discussion on the motion to approve. All those in favor of the motion to approve?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. We have no January 13th, none. February 10th, has a special meeting. Okay. All right, so move to town reports, 5A, treasurer's report and approval, review and approval financial reports, January 2024.
Good
Debbie?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening's financials are for the end of January. 58% of the fiscal year. This is revision 3 for the general fund. Operating income is at 68% and expenses 66%. We will be working on revision 5 for review in a special town council meeting later this month or the regular session in April. For waterworks, this is revision 2, and we're showing billing income at 62.4% and expenses 57%. Any questions?
Questions, council? Motion to approve financial.
I'm going to approve the financial reports as presented.
Thank you, Storm. We have a second from George. Discussion on the motion to approve. All those opposed to the motion to approve financial.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5A, number 2, approval of invoices and purchases. David?
You should have received the list. The documents are on the table. Any questions on any items on the list?
Questions on the purchases?
I'm going to approve the invoices and purchases as presented.
Second on the motion, second from Chris. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Debbie. Budget and Finance Committee, discussion and action regarding WDA grant.
The WDA grant water distribution project phase 1 is currently underway. Our construction crew is here in town, and I'm going to defer the rest of the comments to Steve when he makes his report under the water works report.
Thank you, Debbie. We move to number 3, discussion action regarding resolution number 5 for water distribution system project phase number 1.
Okay, this is resolution number 5 with the town of Harpers Ferry approving invoices relating to construction and other services for the water project and authorizing payment thereof. Whereas the town of Harpers Ferry has reviewed the invoices attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference in relation to the construction of the water project funded by the West Virginia Water Development Authority, EECG funds, and CNB Bank Construction Trust funds, and fund as follows. 1, that none of the items for which payment is proposed have been requested from another source. 2, that each item for which the payment is proposed to be paid or is or was necessary in connection with the project and constitutes the cost of the project. 3, that each of such funds has been otherwise properly incurred. 4, that payment for each of the items proposed is due and owing. Now therefore be it resolved by the town council of Harpers Ferry that the payment of the attached invoices summarized below are hereby authorized and directed. GD&F $2,215.20 out of the CNB fund column. This is adopted by the council of Harpers Ferry at a meeting held on the 10th day of March 2025.
I move to approve resolution number 5 for water distribution system project phase number 1.
Second on the motion, second from Chris. Discussion on the motion to approve. All those in favor of the motion to approve?
Yes.
Opposed, 0. Motion carries 5-0. Item 5B, boy 6, discussion regarding collection agency contracting update.
So you should have received in your packet a redlined and a clean copy of the updated policy, which we sent over to the PSD for their approval, and they actually have some very useful editing, kind of looking at it from a different set of eyeballs than us sitting here in the office. And they did agree to participate in the program of using the collection agency. So now that we have compiled those edits back into another document, this is coming back to you just for a final approval of the policy.
I move to approve the collection agency contracting policy as submitted.
Second on the motion, second from George. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Opposed, 0. Motion carries 5-0. Discussion action regarding previously approved FY25 project funding for the Harpers Ferry Bolivar Historic Town Foundation.
I'm a board member of this organization. I do not see any financial or other tangible benefit, but in the interest of transparency and good governance, I recuse myself.
Who's got this item? Chris?
I move to distribute $1,000 to the Harpers Ferry Bolivar Historic Town Foundation for a survey of the First Zion Baptist Church property, pre-approved in the budget, out of 906 Historic Preservation.
Second on the motion. Chair seconds the motion. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
Yes,
I'm sorry, Zach, would you state your vote?
yes.
Motion carries 3-1. All right. All right, item number 9, discussion action regarding Harper Cemetery expenses. Storm, I am delegating temporary authority to you to act as the recorder for this item.
Okay. This is for the Harper Cemetery, which is owned by the town but managed by the trustees. And they completed work on a fence that is parallel to the Lockwood House that adjoins a gate that had been placed there. And this was actually originally allocated from fiscal year 2024. And at the time, there was a question about the licensing. Am I the right item?
Yeah, this, you are, but it was actually for refurbishing the stones.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
stones.
stones. The fence is coming in the next year, right? But you're right, it was in fiscal 24, and there was complication with the licensing through our administration.
Okay, this was the headstone repair and
Mhm.
resituation.
Yes,
So, but this was the issue where there was contract,
Yes.
and was question about the licensing, and this was determined to actually not be an issue.
right, yes, and the delay in it coming forward now is really at the fault of at the burden of the administration. It was not the foundation, the trustees' problem. They presented their documents, but it took us a long time to get to the bottom of the licensing issue. It has been resolved and now coming back.
So, yes,
I have a motion here in front of me. Ready to do that? I move to distribute $3,145 to the Board of Trustees of the Harpers Ferry Cemetery for headstone repair and resituation out of 906 for fiscal year 24.
second,
I'll second that.
And I'll also make a supporting comment in that when you all were reviewing your 906 funding from the last week, when we went through it, I did include this as in fiscal 25 when I anticipated how much would be spent in this year, just so you know, it was included.
all in favor of the motion? Zach,
Yes, sorry, I was muted. Yes.
none opposed, that is 4-0.
Discussion action regarding tree service at the children's park. Chris?
I move to allocate up to $2,500 for tree removal at the children's park out of 906.
Is there a second on the motion? Second from George. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, none opposed. Discussion action regarding opioid funds, general update, correction, discussion regarding opioid fund. Third correction, discussion regarding opioid funds, general update.
Actually, there is no update.
Yeah, there's no additional funding received, no action.
Please report. Any questions? The clerk is here. Hearing none, move to ordinance compliance. Any questions? Hearing none, moving to number 8, planning commission. Zach?
I have no formal report. We do have some additional documentation, just background documentation that the Planning Commission wanted to enter into the record related to the vote we took at our last regular meeting about the zoning change for 460 Washington Street. I haven't received the additional documents yet, but I will enter them into the town council record when I do.
Thank you, Zach. Start landmarks commission report, George.
We had three applications for two restoration to the churches in town and for solar panels. Forward that recommendations on. To the board of trustees.
Anything else?
We'll have a meeting tomorrow. Wednesday.
Item number 2, under landmarks, discussion and action regarding reappointment to the Historic Landmarks Commission. We have one individual who has applied for reappointment, that is Steve Sherry.
Nominate Steve Sherritt for reappointment.
Are there other nominations from the council? Roll call on Steve Sherry. Zach?
Yes.
Norm?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
And Chair, yes. That is help me out, Patty, is that a January 1, 2028 expiration on that? Okay. And I will ask either Melissa or Patty to notify Steve. That was not a watch. Update on the Weaver House.
We have no update at this time.
Sure.
We have no update at this time.
Order, general report from PWA. Steve?
Okay, with the report here on the account for water. Month of February, actually, the number is rather high. It was 58% February, January reported 44%, December 51%, November 42%. We had relatively low treated water sales in February. That's a short month. Other things about that skews this number somewhat significantly. I think we had about 3 million gallons sold in January. We had 2 million gallons sold. 2.2 million gallons sold in February. So system remains charged no matter how much water we basically put to the meters itself. The system is charged, the weeks that we have the same amount of water per house used. So but this does raise, a bit for me to try to get out. We have a new operator starting first training. Latter first couple of weeks in April, and when I look at scheduling, one of the things I think I will consider doing in terms of looking at how much water we need to produce. So that's why we're hiring this individual. But if there's, a full 40 hours of production, I think one of the things I'd like to do is get them out to provide some kind of assistance. He starts April 1st for a couple of weeks on the job. And then hopefully, part of April, I think we talked about Tom Paul will be on board. I'm training him. Tom's hours at that point pretty much sunset of Tom. That's pretty much.
Zach has questions.
Oh, Zach, question.
Not exactly a question. I think your mic is dying, Steve. I apologize. I heard most of it, but it's starting to go.
We're gonna swap this one out. 52, but I don't have to put on.
Steve, kind of hold it up like that, it might be better.
I think the battery might be dying in that one.
Okay, is that better?
Hard to tell yet, but hopefully.
Oh. Okay. So next, Next on the agenda is let's move into that one, discussion and action regarding an update on current water distribution project to include its impact on street closures and road resurfacing. So I can give you an update on the project. I don't know, we can talk about road resurfacing and all the rest of it. Probably steps on some of that.
Okay.
All right.
Better be careful.
All right, so, council, I did send you, kind of a brief update, so I come with more information, tonight, more details. I do have, back for your benefit, not being able to see, but I basically have a paper copy of the, project that we are in the middle of, or that we have initiated. It's a town hall copy, both part that will reside out in the office here. They started last Monday, so it started a week ago. We started on West Ridge. The TerraWorks, the contractor, is laying in mains. From what I can hear, I'm still trying to understand their workflow. Working with our engineer on the job, GDF. But they appear to be setting in the replacement main, then they cover it all over, and I think they're pressure testing it or something. But it would appear then that they will then come back in and put the saddles on to actually then connect out to the laterals to the meters. Okay, so right now, what we've seen in West Ridge is they've dug up the road, laid in the main, and then covered it all over. But they haven't put the laterals across yet. I'm still trying to understand what that workflow is, so I can come back and let you, as well as the folks who are directly affected, get some idea of what the schedule is, the impact is. We have had a couple of breaks, and so they have not tied in that part has not been tied into the system yet. So the pipe is in the ground, but it's just kind of sitting there. We have had to shut water off on 2 occasions last week on West Ridge, and that was because they struck water lines that either had not marked correctly or had not marked at all. So we are working along with the PSD, because there's also sewer lines. They have to be careful of this, they dig. We've been working with my staff as well as the PSD, make sure the PSD gets their lines marked, make sure that we get our lines marked as accurately as we possibly can. But as if they encounter some of these mystery lines, one line that they struck truly was nobody knew that it was there. 4-inch leg off the main, and we found the valve after 2 inches of asphalt. It wasn't on any of our own, so we're going to have some of that. But we're trying to get out ahead of that. If those in the project, we have to basically go in and make the repair, and then more services and all the rest. In terms of how they're rolling this out, currently they started with West Ridge, and that was from the very end of West Ridge up to or just beyond the Gilbert Cambridge Street intersection. Gilbert Street extended just beyond that intersection. They have now moved over to Oliver to do East Spring Street. That's the length from Polk Street all the way up to Spring Court. We're working on that currently, and I believe they plan to have that both done, although I think done is not the laterals tied in, but the sewer line, also the new water main in the length of in the ground, the length of Spring. From there, they're going to Park Road. That would be coming up from Washington across Park Road and then going back down Washington. So it comes up Columbia to Park Road, back Gilmore to Washington Street. From there, they'll go to the Columbia Street neighborhood. A little bit of involvement, mostly that's in the county cemetery and 340 up on west end of west end. Beyond that, we don't really know. We are talking to them about scheduling, especially since they were going to start this project in December, actually didn't start until in March. I've been talking to them about how that affects their schedule in town relative to the really the tourist season. So that still working with really with our engineer with some kind of take another hard look at the logistics, designing the logistics of how for this project. So that one is still somewhat determined. As soon as I get that information, I'll be able to bring that forward and share that with one of the things that I think that we are, let's say, kind of learning through this first week and then this week, is that there's one thing to be actually a customer that is going to have, your water line to your meter replaced. There's another thing to other customers who will in some way be affected. On West Ridge, when we struck the 4-inch main, we had to shut the water off. The only way we were able to shut the water off was to shut the entire stretch of West Ridge from here. So it did affect that unanticipated outage did affect many more people than just the folks who get the water lines. Same thing over on Spring Street. We've got Spring Court. They're affected. It's traffic. There's that sort of thing. So we're doing our best to see what's going on and how we can better communicate with folks, not just the folks who are immediately involved, but peripherally. I think that's probably about what I have to share. I don't have scheduled beyond what I've given you, but we will try to, as soon as I can get something, we'll try to get that somehow posted. That could be a good thing. That's the post I want to talk
Then did you want to cover the
Sure.
resurfacing?
So, but also I'll add a couple other things too. I think one thing as you as council people might, a couple things just to keep in mind, if you're approached by people about, want to talk to people about, what we're doing and why we're doing it, and why are we doing it this way? Keep in mind that we tried to get funding for all of it and we couldn't. And so we therefore had to break it up into pieces. And the way that we do that is by adding up the sections to make the amount of money that we think we're going to get. And it doesn't always make logical sense as to, why would you do this part and not do this part that's just connected to it? So it's unfortunate that we have to do it that way, but that is the reality. And I think one of the things we're learning that is that as much as we have these aged pipes in the ground, we also have very aged drawings. And when Steve said, we didn't mark our things correctly, well, they went there and they marked them and they marked them where they thought they were, only that wasn't really what was going on. And there wasn't any way to know until you got into the ground. So the construction crew is aware of this and doing their best to assist us with that. But that also means that, as he was saying, there will be more than probably we would like to have of instances where unexpected breaks will occur, and it will affect more than the people that we hoped would be affected. And there's nothing we can do about it in that moment. It is an emergency situation and the water is gone, and we are just have to do our best and try to assure people that.
And financially, are there contingencies built in, knowing that there will be.
So we have a contingency fund, and we are working with the sewer department as well as our water department to try to build up a little bit of inventory of more things that we might that might be needed in the event of a break should it occur. But also, there's quite a variety of things that the water department needs, and it's kind of impossible for us at the sizingness of water utility that we are to hold a full inventory of everything. So we just have to do the best we can with that. And
Storm with some of that, so I think the best way that we can try to control those costs in the project is for the water department staff to be as responsive as, well, first off, to do the best we can tomorrow, but then to be as responsive as possible so that when something happens where basically we're able to drop everything and fix. Because if you don't, they have to fix it. There's a delay for their whole crew, and that's when it starts adding up.
Right. So we've become aware of that and we're working to mitigate it. March 20 will be our next meeting with the contractor and the engineer. We're going to have more frequent meetings at the outset than we did with the water plant so that we can get into a rhythm and start to really understand their process and the best ways to communicate with them and begin to update more tightly the schedule, which we certainly can post, but is always subject to change. So that's something to keep in mind. Regarding the paving, the request was put on here so that, and we will have to talk with them in more detail on March 20 about this, but the town has a lot of places where there are already serious paving issues, which we're looking at contracting to work to take care of. And the thought was when our construction hired contractor comes in to do the paving, might we put some more thought into what they're going to pave with a little bit of advance notice and perhaps have them do a little bit extra, maybe at our cost, but to try to just more logically address if we're going to do the back end of Church Street, maybe we could do all of Church Street at the same time since they're there. March, the meeting that we had last week, there is no way we could have begun to approach that subject, but we will keep it on our docket to review with them and start to work on as the project progresses.
Thank you. Mike?
So basically, I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up of what's going to be coming your way, probably at the next town council meeting.
Just hold it up, Mike.
Okay. As some of you know, I have been poking around to see what can be learned about our karst aquifer. Elks Run is our dominant source of supply, and it comes from the aquifer. And my first question was, well, this 1.7 million gallons a day from the bottling plant, will that have any effect on this? And it turns out after talking to Mark Kozar at USGS, it will not. And that's because the aquifer is split into two. There's an eastern part of the aquifer and a western part of the aquifer. Most of the county is in the eastern part of the aquifer. I have a water table map, and I've spent some time with Mark Kozar at USDS. It starts at Summit Point, and it goes north from there, and all of the rest of that is east. The bottling plant is on the west side, and there the twain shall meet. So we don't have to worry about that, but we have other things to worry about. In addition to that, I've been talking with Ken Hitt, who used to be at USGS in Leetown, and he sent me two water reports, the 1991 USGS report and the 2012 ASI report. And I looked at that and tried to figure out what do we know about water supply and what do we know about water use. And the two reports just don't correlate with each other. They're so far off, they make no sense. I ended up spending time with Mark Kozar, and then there's a water use guy at USGS in Charlestown by the name of Matt Kearns, and I've spent a lot of time with him. And the bottom line is, at the moment, we do not know what the renewable supply is in the karst, nor do we know what water demand is. And so right now, USGS has an $800,000 proposal to Jefferson County to do the water supply piece. That looks at the renewable supply and a whole bunch of other things in the karst aquifer. There's an additional $300,000 request by Matt Kearns to do a water use study. And that's also before the county. And I'm told that both of those are going to the county planning commission, and then they'll go to the county commissioners. There's some related issues. Steve and I met last week with two people. We met with Mary Sellers, who is the sole surviving, I should say, she's the sole remaining member of the Jefferson County Water Advisory Committee. That committee is in the process of being reconstituted. They're doing new bylaws. And I learned from Mary that there is going to be a position for Harpers Ferry Boulevard on that committee. And I've talked to the mayor about it, and Mary's supposed to contact you. I don't know if she has yet. So and then Steve and I also met with Pasha Maji. And we were trying to get our foot in the door around the Water Advisory Committee. So I'm going to take all of this to the Water Commission at its next meeting. I hope to come out of that with two recommendations that will come to you. The first recommendation is that we give strong support for these two USGS studies. And the second is that we ask you for strong support to get somebody from Harpers Ferry Boulevard to serve on the reconstituted Water Advisory. I left in.
I think what we heard was the county is actually trying to get the state to pick up the money for the study.
Correct.
So I think they're going to be looking for our support to if you will, lobby the state to basically put forward the million plus to do the studies.
One of my remaining concerns is it's not clear to me that the water use study focuses on the difference between water withdrawals and consumptive use. Water withdrawn and not consumptively used, like in evapotranspiration for agriculture, excess water flows back into the aquifer. And downstream users of the aquifer have access to that water. So in the two reports that I mentioned earlier, they measure how well we're doing on demand versus supply. They just do water withdrawals as a share of total water supply. They need to be doing consumptive use. We need to make sure that when the USGS water user guy does his $300,000 study, that he focuses on consumptive use.
Zach, go ahead.
I was just curious if you'd come across anything. It all has to do with permeability of the karst terrain, but how long it takes for water that's not used in the agriculture purpose to re-percolate back into the aquifer, because it's not an instantaneous recharging of the aquifer.
That is correct. The best we have at the moment, the best that I've seen at the moment is there have been some dye tests where they put a dye upstream and they follow it, and where does it come out and how long does it take? And as far as I know, that's about as good as what we have right now.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any questions for Mike? Good job, Mike. Thank you. Go ahead, Chris.
Just a comment that, I don't know if our water commission will have a volunteer to serve on the county committee, or whether the water commissioners will be able to take that on. Think of someone, but I would put out to all of the council and all of the public listening into this meeting that if we can find a person who is willing to put in some time and some study into that committee, it would be of great value to our town and to the water works.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for doing this work. It's gonna be more important as it is.
It's fun, it's not academic, we get to look at this, right?
Discussion and action regarding submittal of water works payment policies.
So, you already approved that, I'm sorry. We did that previously under the, collection agency stuff. Sorry about that.
The tree commission, we thought we had an individual that was interested in the appointment, come to find out that individual is not a Harpersburg resident, so that's over that. Parking committee, the only thing I have to report, there are 2 prototype signs on Franklin Street. The parking committee met a couple of months ago, and as a result of numerous complaints from Franklin and Putnam residents up there regarding parking, we decided to put a prototype sign together, and thanks to Storm and Christian, and they are up there. No means permanent. The town council approves permanent signs. And I spoke with the Sugisis yesterday or the day before, whenever that was, and we're just seeing if that sign will have any positive effect on deterring a lot of the illegal parking that's going up there on particularly the intersection of Franklin and Putnam. So we'll just see where that goes, and then if we decide the parking committee wants to go forward with that permanent sign and others that we will definitely go to the town council. And I believe there is a 120 sign on the budget thing that is not.
It is proposed as part of the 26th budget.
Okay. And
232 signs.
is that where it is? Okay, so we'll take a look at that, but please, that is not, the parking committee has not gone rogue. Reported to me, and these are just prototypes to see what effect it may or may not have up there. Old business special.
On Parks Commission, per the discussions we had at one of the recent meetings, would it be possible to look into signs notifying people that they can flag down the EMTA?
Yeah, we should put that on the agenda for, that's a good idea.
Zach has a hand.
As a result of their briefing that they came in.
New information.
Zach,
Just to point out that I don't think this is exactly what we're talking about, but the establishment of bus stops or taxi stops is handled by the Planning Commission. So if we're thinking about signage for EPTA, run it by planning too.
Oh, this is a separate thing. It's actually not establishing stops. It's part of EPTA's charter to be what I think is called a flag stop service. So it's something they currently do now.
is that clear? Zach?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Discussion action regarding seat reappointment to the JCBA Jefferson County Development Authority. The only individual that expressed an interest was Roberta, and she would like to be reappointed to that. And that this would be a term of 3 years, and her term expires on April 5th. So if there are any nominations from the floor. George?
I'd like to nominate Roberta Mead Curry to take up position again. When it comes up, what's the date, April 5th?
Yes.
On April 5th, 2025.
Okay. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Zach?
Yes.
Storm?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Chair? Yes. New business. Discussion and action on recent staff reduction at the Harpers Ferry National Historic Park. Chris?
Mr. Mayor, may I ask, and interrupt, I'm so sorry. Andrew and I are prepared to step out if we have this discussion, unless you'd like us to stay for questions or something.
See no issue.
You're not under any obligation to step out.
I just
Understand
thought it
law.
might be better for the conversation.
That's fine. Yeah. Certainly don't want you to feel like you may be placed in jeopardy. Okay, go ahead, Christian, give the background on this and what has prompted this.
So as you all likely know, there have been lots of federal job cuts around the federal government recent couple of weeks, and they have hit Harpers Ferry National Historical Park. Had a great impact on them, and much of the meticulous and steadfast building that the superintendent has been working on to kind of rebuild park staff has been lost because many of those employees were provisional staff. And so I drafted a letter. The one that I think has been submitted to the council is to Senator Capito. We have almost identical letters except for the initial address to Congressman Moore and to Senator Justice. And I want to thank the mayor. We kind of went back and forth. I think we agreed on the recommendations and the ask. The mayor had toned me down a little bit. So I guess I would like to see the council, as we did on the Mountain Pure Water issue, to submit these letters with all of the council signing and sending to those three representatives in Congress.
Before I call for a motion, I'll just open up for discussion on any councilman. George?
Yes, I have spoken previous matters against partisanship in this council. However, I don't believe it's a partisan matter. Rather, it's the welfare of the town and the welfare of our park. And it also affects residents of ours. I've spoken to a park employee who's greatly concerned, who's a resident of ours. And I wholeheartedly endorse your efforts here. And I wish to, if these are the letters that we're to sign, I wish to point out something that needs to be corrected.
Sure.
Let Chris know. We addressed Riley Moore as Congressman Moore as a new representative of the House of West Virginia Congressional District. We've got the Honorable Jim Justice, Senator Justice, as a new representative of the Congressional District. That sounds like it could mean a senator too.
I think there was an error in that transmission.
Yes, but in these, that could slide, but I think we should put senator there.
No, you're actually absolutely right. There must have been a mistake in.
These are only on the first page. I have a visual here for you to send and caption right here. If the changes are only on the first page.
No. I'm sorry. On page 2, the first new paragraph here is as our representative in the House.
Oh, yeah, that's.
And that's doesn't work.
Yeah.
I haven't those just jumped out at me and I
And you normally find that on the justice letter, not on the capital.
well, you're right. I don't, do I have a capital letter? I have a Riley Moore letter and I have a Justice. I don't believe I have a capital letter. Same thing? Okay, so those would have to be.
Yeah, we'll clean that up, George.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a good observation. Thanks, George. Go ahead, Zach, and then Storm.
Yeah, I think from what I read, these are great letters. Definitely support it. These definitely speak to the staff reductions that have been happening, and I think there's an ongoing reduction in force for the federal government, which will kind of fall in the same category. But there's another aspect which is also potentially set to negatively affect Harpers Ferry National Park, which is the budget, the federal budget, which is about to be approved. I don't know if we wanted to also mention just say and funding in this letter as well, or if we wanted to keep it focused on the reduction in positions. But I know that both it's a 1-2 punch that's affecting a lot of federal agencies.
Yeah, I would prefer we keep it focused. Zach, that's a good thought. But I think if we throw too much machinations in this thing, it'll lose its impact and focus. But good idea. But I would prefer, unless I'm outvoted, that we keep it focused that we have it right now.
Sounds good.
I agree with you on that, and I also think the errors in the copying can be taken care of.
Yeah.
A form of it that would take a little bit more time.
Okay, sure. Okay, the chair on the motion.
Oh, I just wanted
I'm
to,
sorry, Storm, go ahead.
just to say, I fully support the letter. I agree with what George said. And yeah, Zach, I see the importance of it, but keeping it focused is good. And I feel like as stewards of history of the town, this is one of the most important things we can.
Zach has his hand up again.
Go ahead, Zach, again.
Just one last thing to chime in, which is that in addition to the support, everyone, us on the town council and members of the public can call the senators. Their office numbers are available. And I was surprised that not them themselves, but staff members do answer those phones. You don't get an answering machine. And I've heard that the phone calls are a good way to get your message heard as well. So just to encourage that in addition to this letter, we all consider giving our senators a phone call.
And we know that they're friends of Harper's Ferry, and by them hearing from us, it strengthens their ability to work for us.
All right.
So,
You got a motion?
I move to make these 3 letters with corrections as official correspondence from the mayor, the reporter, and the town council of Harper's Ferry, and to be both emailed and mailed with signatures of all members of the council.
Second on the motion, second.
Second.
Discussion on the motion.
When will Roberta be there?
George.
Yeah, discussion on that. I mean, I don't know about Nina's availability, but in order to do this, where is our country?
We'll work that one. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Motion to adjourn?
So yes.
Second.
You're hesitating?
All in favor to adjourn?
Yes.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:55. Let me say that one more time.
Please fill my heart.
7:55.
That's how meeting's supposed to go.
Ah.